kept seeing a car go into the water. All day they've been showing me reruns in my mind of Adventures with Purpose. VP's gonna find her in the Prosser Lake.
We have found Kylie Rodney's vehicle. Again, our search for Kylie at Prosser Creek Reservoir on August 21st at 10.
There are plenty of questions and very few answers after 4 students at the University of Idaho were found murdered in their off-campus house.
It's like if you look at Ted Bundy's eyes and you look at his eyes, they're the same. Maybe a little bit lighter. The one thing that I keep seeing is curls. So I don't know if he has curly hair or wavy hair, and that might be when it's grown out. I think he elongated, like his face might be a little bit longer. There's a reference to a pointier type nose. He honestly looks a lot like Ted Bundy, but like a jacked up Ted Bundy. Like not as handsome. I keep getting like a security guard or a badge. Like a Brian or something like that. It's because they are going to catch him. Because I'm seeing him in an orange jumpsuit. He wasn't as smart as he thought he was. Okay. He's probably going to go to jail for this eventually. I keep getting December.
The name Richard again.
I also get the name Rick. Damn name Allen is coming in again.
Jailed 50-year-old Richard Allen in connection with the double murder. Teen best friends Libby German and Abby Williams went hiking on a trail and never came home.
Done on November 20th, 2019 at 7:14 p.m. Quinton, but I'm seeing trash and I don't.
9:42 Wednesday morning. Quinton Simon's mom told 911 her little boy was gone.
I do keep hearing a trash truck though. Then I keep hearing the trash truck. It's almost, that's one thing I can't get rid of is the twisting of the trash bag. And so then I'm like, well, is he in the trash? Okay. Unfortunately, I hate to say that. I do hear landfill could be the...
Well, new tonight, a heartbreaking search underway in Georgia for a missing toddler. Police are sifting through trash at a landfill for the remains of 20-month-old Quinton Simon.
And I felt like he was going to be found. That was earlier in the day.
3-year-old boy found alive and in good health.
And I said, like, within 3 miles, but I'm not seeing him being hurt, and I'm not seeing someone coming up and getting him.
And I said, were you alone? Yes.
The main 2 things I keep getting is the wooded area and the shed.
Well, to take cover in that shed.
Late into the night to find.
I see him running to the woods. Oh, I keep getting a repeated image of him running to the woods. Okay. So maybe he decided he wanted to go play and then he kind of got lost in the woods. Be within 2 miles. I keep getting a reference to the edge of the woods. And so he's still alive because I'm not using him to get this information.
Right.
Around in the woods like I can't find my way out. I'm stuck. And I said he's in a bush.
Okay. I went across a field of grass. I came up on some woods. Sure enough, I went in the woods and about 100 feet from where I was at. I think he was in some stickers. There's a lot of stickers and all there.
Tonight in our Missing series, a case that we have heard a lot about from our viewers.
He wants to take me down the road to like a neighbor's house or something, like another farm. I also hear neighbor. He said he knows this guy. He knows him. And he's a neighbor. I don't know what the friends come in.
Suspect, 58-year-old James Brenner, who also happens to be Dylan's closest neighbor in the remote desert area of Lucin.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Psychic Sleuth channel. So I did do an Autowrite with Elijah and Ted. Ted had to help him come through a little bit. If you don't understand why I work with Ted, remember that we are not our humanity. He helps with cases, and who knows better than he does. So, Idaho 4, he crossed into the light. He's been helpful ever since. I do have videos that he does have a playlist, a Ted playlist. I explain why I work with him. There are astrologies there, so I will also post the links below on that. And so he had to kind of help Elijah come through a little bit. Elijah came through really strong, but I think location was a little all over the place, honestly, to be honest. I'm sorry. I can't. It's almost like I was getting two locations, or I don't know if I'm getting two different energies, because I noticed like in Audrey's, like I always tell people, like I was flip-flopping. I was flip-flopping from seeing a woman or a girl sinking in water and having her hands tied to going back and forth to the woods. And sometimes I will pick up different locations where evidence may be. I will pick up the locations where things may have happened. I will pick up other bodies in the area. So, you know, sometimes other people come in stronger. So I can't help if I've kind of flip-flopped like that. I only give you guys what I see. All right, so the ways to support me are down below. There will also be a link on how interconnects and Autowrites work. If you're new here, it would be important to watch that to kind of understand how this works, because not everything's going to fit here, and I'll go into that in just a minute and explain. So the ways to support me again are down below. The ways to schedule a reading, all of that are there. And also, I wanted to mention I have the spirit-led events. So that's, you know how most people do audience reads and things like that. This is virtual and it's just 6 people. It's kind of like that. So spirit leads the way. You're not guaranteed a reading, but it is only 6 people, so you're likely to get something. So it's $25 to join that. The next date is June 22nd. I may add dates in between. It's just going to depend on my schedule. Right now I'm just kind of going out, so I don't get a little burnt out on it, because it's a lot. It takes a couple hours, and it's a lot of channeling, so it's a lot for me. So just keep that in mind. I don't know how many more of these I'm going to do. So if you want to get in on that, just email me at thepsychicsleuth.com or at gmail.com. Sorry, psychicsleuth@gmail.com. So thank you for your love and support. And this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be very deep. I'm going to try to go as slow as I can. This is a very strong channel in a lot of it. And I do realize stuff has been out and stuff, but I actually wrote all that here, so I'll just explain everything. And I think here we go. All right. So for those of you who are new here, this is an Autowrite. Please listen if you do not know how psychic stuff works, or how I work, or how location works. I try to educate, and if you're going to be a part of this channel and listen to readings, or any readings for that matter, this is important to understand, because I get comments of stuff I've already tried to explain. I never try to lead on a wild goose chase. I can't control what I'm being shown. Spirit tries to show it the best way that they can. I do go deeper with an Autowrite, and can sometimes see things better. However, the downfall with an Autowrite is I can get more interconnects. I try not to, and I have a lot more focus and control than I used to, because I went back to the Leahs and it was all over the place. But it still happens, and Spirit does that for a reason, usually to lead to the next case or due to timing. I have no control. Cases do choose me. I do have to say that. They do usually come in prior readings. So I mean, it's happened with Lakin, it's happened with Audrey, it's happened with this now, because this was mentioned in Autowrite 10 with the boy being like Elijah going missing. So it does happen. All right. I try not to get the interconnects, and like again, I said I have more focus and control than I used to, but it still happens. And Spirit does that for a reason, usually to lead to the next case or due to timing. Sorry, I repeated myself. I have no control in that sense, although I try to. But Spirit is never wrong, but I can misperceive, and I may misperceive. But if it doesn't fit here, for those of you who follow me, know that it will fit somewhere eventually. I'm not here to solve a case. I'm not here to put anybody in jail. I'm not here to find a body. It doesn't work like that. I wish that it did. Yes, there are some psychics that do, and there have been times where I've been successful in doing so and giving the directions and it being correct. But I just like to mention to people that this is for Elijah's voice and to get out what needs to be out. So, and hopefully it helps in some way. But so I wanted to do an Autowrite on Elijah. I've been driving myself crazy for days trying to locate. It's hard for me on a map because I feel so much on a map, especially in haunted places and stuff. Like I feel things and I don't know why I feel them, but I'm never really able to pinpoint when I'm feeling and where. That's something I'm going to work on. But I also try to go by pulls and feelings, and I also try to just find what I'm seeing or match puzzle pieces. It's not always easy because I remote view and see visions, so it's like I'm there more than anything else, which not being from the area is hard. So it's helpful when locals can match what I'm seeing. I do realize a lot of places tend to make sense for what I see, This is just the way I work. As time goes on, it may change and get better, but I can only give you what I get, and things have timing. So usually if someone is meant to be found, the way they will be found, and if someone's meant to be found, they will be found in the way that it's meant to happen and in the timing. It doesn't stop me from going crazy in circles on a map. Also, I work in reference points, so the reference points can be within miles. It can be there to help us to get us to an area, if that makes sense. Information can be past, present, or future, any point in anybody's life, symbolic, metaphoric, not always literal in how I see it. Spirit will often use my references and experiences to try to explain things. They use vision, symbols, and I have to translate that to you. They will be shown to me in a way that I can recognize them. It may not look exactly that way right now or have frogs or whatever, but maybe when he's found that's how it was. So it could be seasonal or sights and sounds to show me that kind of area he's in. Again, symbolic, or that's what I relate things to. So how it would sound if he's there near where those kind of things are, if that makes sense. How else can I describe what it may be around or what's in an area? If it's not a frog season, okay, maybe he's found in frog season, or maybe it's just how I relate to a marshy, watery place where frogs are. Does that make sense? How we perceive it and how it makes sense, the most sense for the case, is what Spirit's trying to say. I'll try to just say what I'm seeing and sometimes say how it can fit, but usually what I'm seeing is important, especially if it repeats. If it repeats, everything in here I had to say because it repeated. So we just have to take what I'm seeing and see how it makes sense. I will feel things in my body, and I'll explain that it can be what happened in someone's body at the time of passing, or ailments or symptoms. As I read this, if anything extra comes in, I'll let you know. And yes, I'm reading this because this is an Autowrite, hence the word Autowrite. It's just a way of channeling spirit. It's a different way than the other way I do it, but a deeper connection. This is only psychic medium impressions. It is not fact and is for entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. This is a kid case. I'll be as gentle as I can. If I can't get much from Elijah, I'll pull in my consultant. For those that follow me, you know who that is. He's very helpful. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, and this is all alleged. Things may repeat and things may come out that are already known. I only say what I get and try to stay away from news and stuff, but Spirit mentions facts because, well, they are facts. This is their voice. I'm in deep channel, so I'll give what I'm given. This is his story. So please don't say this was out or that was out when I channel. I don't think. I can't control what's given. Side note, I'll try to read as slowly as I can. I do have ADHD. I tend to get a little ahead of myself and talk and read fast. It's part of being a medium as well. So please either slow it down or you can listen. That's great. There should be subtitles. I'll do my best to read slow. So a few things I need to say is this whole time I thought that the water was the beach. It's a huge lake, but to me it feels like the beach. So it looks like the beach. That's how we perceive it. There's sand, everything like that. I want to say the beach. So every time I pull cards, it gives me beach card and a boat card and water. So beach is important. So you have to stay along the coast, in my opinion, because 3 for 3 is no longer a coincidence in the cards. There's definitely a feeling of water. I just can't get if he's in it or by it, or just a wet area, but it's important. So last few days I've been getting random things. I keep seeing a lighthouse, and I also get a reference to caves. I don't know if it fits here, but this is just something that's been coming in randomly, and I'm not sure where it fits, so I need to mention it just in case. So the boat card, I don't know if this dude had a boat or why the heck does that card keep coming in, unless it's just to tell me beach where we have boats. But I also keep getting pulled back every time I try to go too far. Okay, so I think that's all I've been seeing lately. Let me try to get into channeling. Be prepared for this, okay? So Elijah shows me that he was happy child for some point, but he stands and points to men. Not just one man, both dad and this guy. Almost like men in general, because he's saying they were controlling, mean, and he shows me gang signs. Last reading, we can take the cult card as community, gang, etc., so that came in before. So I don't know, he shows me him as a baby, and I feel mom was different back then, at least for a period of time.
I feel like Elijah was conceived out of SA, and yes, a husband can do that. He shows me lots of yelling, screaming, and abuse, and taking place in the home. He says she's lucky to be alive. He shows me him in a room by himself in a car seat at one time, and he can hear yelling, fighting, things breaking. I've not seen Dad, but I see tats on him, and he looks like a larger male. He also shows me, like, I kept getting, like, muscles and stuff. I don't know. He also shows me money and men coming in and out. So I take that as trafficking or trafficking other women, and also reference to paraphernalia, specifically coke. I can see him sitting at a table doing coke. He says that once Dad was out of the picture, they showed me him in handcuffs after some sort of violent argument, and again, came in the prior reading. I don't know if Mom was in a hospital for a period of time and he was with someone else, because he shows me Mom in a hospital bed. He says things were never the same, but also I feel like she was always controlled, manipulated, and weak-minded. She stayed where she felt she had to for various reasons, very much victim mentality. And he says this is in no way condoning it, but I understand more now than I did then. I feel this kid was put in various rooms while things took place, so I don't know if Mom continued to have various men over and make money. Some things I'm getting were also done in front of him, because that comes in. He also shows men in and out of the home, money being exchanged, always in another room, and sometimes even in the same room. I also feel like Mom also had a drug problem, and this was apparent in the other reading. So between all of this, abuse on herself, drugs, being controlled, manipulated, and always doing as told, she had tolerance for abusive men, and it's all she knew. But I also feel like, I don't know if the dad said, go be with my old lady, because that is kind of how it comes across weirdly. The dad is a bad guy and very violent, Elijah says, and he shows me lots of violent things happening with Mom. Dad might even have other things in his past that we don't know about, because for some reason I see him shooting someone. That's coming in right now as I'm reading this, so that's kind of weird. Like almost what's the word I'm thinking of? Like those kind of gangs and stuff would do, I guess, is the best way to describe it. He shows me a lot of violent things happening with Mom. Even as a young baby, he knew. He says once Dad left, things were a little better. I feel like she tried many ways to be a good mom, but she couldn't. Her mental health, addictions, and not being strong of mind, body, or soul has kept her from being who she could be. I don't know, I get a reference to another child, looks like a young girl. I don't know if she had custody of her, but I get a reference to maybe a little special herself. They show me a rainbow. We have learned that is my sign for autism sometimes. I think Mom may even have sort of carry this trait herself. It almost feels genetic, and I don't know if Mom was diagnosed with this, but it feels like she could carry it in some form. I also get the word complacent. She was complacent to everyone in her life. She couldn't think for herself, do for herself. She was constantly controlled by someone or something, so she couldn't be alone either. But it feels like, I don't know, to make ends meet. Before help from the state, she may have done what she needed to do with other men. I keep getting like a community of people that I don't know surround her, maybe the gang that keep her in line, so to speak. The thing with Jesse feels arranged. I don't know if they were I didn't know they were dating when I pulled the dating card and other couple cards last reading, but it's been validated since then. But it almost feels arranged, and I keep wanting to point to the dad. So I know there's a connection there. You've all told me that. They are not actual cousins, just close, and in culture, that's how it is stated. But it almost feels like a setup, like I keep an eye on things, but I keep feeling also delusions with Mom. So again, I don't know if she was told her child was evil or had something wrong, or she felt that herself, but it comes across. I am also seeing my control card I pull sometimes where someone else is pulling the strings like a puppeteer. It feels like Jesse manipulated and controlled a weak woman to gain access and control her child. He came across as one that wanted to help, and I felt she is just so weak-minded. She doesn't understand what's happening. Prior to men, I feel like she did better, but it was still up and down. Good and bad ways. I feel like Elijah was still in a way neglected. Not as bad as when men were involved, though. I get like not care with him instead of physical abuse with mom, but when men came in the picture, it's like the child needs to learn to be a man. Child is 3, but that's how it comes across. So it's like also again, I don't know if he told her he was possessed or needed discipline for being a 3-year-old, but this was all control, manipulation, and to get the child. And I feel like I don't know if he made her afraid of or threatened her with something to get the child to him. And then she's got victim mentality, weak-minded. She's got brain damage. She suffered years of different kinds of abuse. Her soul is tortured and it's not connected to her body anymore. And again, he says, not an excuse. You are my protector. Or you, again, he says, not an excuse. You are supposed to be my protector. But he understands from that point of view, from his point of view now, that she wasn't strong or well. And honestly, child services should have taken him away. Again, system failed. That's what he wanted. He was afraid to be a child. He was afraid to speak, to play, to do anything. The child lived in fear of doing something wrong. And things came in the first reading before coming out about how he was in timeout for ridiculous, or how his timeouts were ridiculous. The expectations of a 3-year-old ridiculous. He didn't do anything wrong and he was in trouble. He could look a certain way and the guy would at the guy and be in trouble. He shows me like the guy just likes to abuse. That's just it. He shows me like mom has him in the car and he's in the back car seat and she's driving and she says this will make you better. So again, I don't know if she was manipulated into thinking there was something spiritually wrong with him or what. That also came in the cards too. Last reading. So make sure you watch reading 1 if you haven't, but I don't know how the location is on that one. I get the 6-pointed star, which isn't really bad depending on how you use it. It's all about intention, but it feels like he was involved in some sort of weird spiritual practice. It's more of like dark art stuff because I see smoke and statues and I'm not sure what their culture believes. But I think that when Elijah would act out, it was taken as a demon coming out. It's really weird feeling, but cards from first reading back this up. So he's showing me being dropped off, not wanting to be there, but knowing better than to cry. This kid was a doll, a robot. He couldn't think for himself, be himself. He couldn't and wasn't allowed to be a kid. Everything he did he was punished for. It's ridiculous, and I said before, this makes me angry. I see him naked standing in the corner, shivering wet. He was cold. His teeth are chattering. I can see him being slapped. I can see him standing for hours, and if he sits, he has to restand. No one, not even an adult, can stand for hours. Again, this stuff is coming in the first reading, but it's like coming in again, but more vivid because it's more to the story, and he's going more in depth. He also shows me his hands in hot water or something of that sort. I also see his hand hit with something wooden. I see him put in a dark closet like he's sleeping in there. I see all kinds of abuse, neglect to break his mind, body, and spirit. A child can only take so much. He was checking out emotionally. He was broken mentally, physically, emotionally. They wanted to break him and they did. The enforcer wanted him to be a man at 3. The guy is delusional in himself. And I also get drugs around him, so he's not freaking insane either. This kid never stood a chance in the lifestyle with these people. He wasn't given food. He wasn't given water. A child's body can only take so much. But I don't even think Elijah did anything to get in trouble. Like, I see this monster going crazy on him. You get a reference to the head, the throat, the chest. The stories are all lies. And I think Elijah was gone Saturday the 17th. That's a strong feeling because I kept going to Saturday last reading. And then a couple days ago, I was getting the 17th, and 17 seems to interconnect Quinton's. The stories are all lies. So I have a strong feeling on that. So they should check surveillance from that day, pings from that day. They need to be checked. I think when mom came, he was gone. Then they took him somewhere together. That's how it comes across. I see them together in some form. I feel like, again, that she was manipulated into thinking Elijah was spiritually sick and she was delusional herself. It was all about control. And she knew better than to question this guy anyways. But it's almost like I feel like she's just in this situation, and I don't know. It's hard to explain. This man likes to secretly hurt kids. I think even his own kids, and he needs to be investigated for that if he has any. But he shouldn't be around children, period. Everything they do is wrong in his eyes. They should know better. I feel like it comes from his childhood too. There's something about his childhood where he was treated the same way. So Elijah wanted to tell his story. I get throat pain, like a pressure across my throat. I see him lying on the floor. This man is standing here realizing what he had done, and it wasn't much because Elijah was so weak anyways. He was so weak. But they show me a poison bottle, so I don't know, this can be metaphoric or symbolic, however you want to look at it, unless there's another reason for it. But I feel like I also hear him cough, so I don't know if he had become sick at some point. But I also feel like the guy lost it in a bit of rage, and then he needs to spring into action. I get a reference to, again, putting things in bags, cleaning up. I hear vacuuming and things like that. I see things being wiped down. I see like Elijah's stuff going into one bag, and I hear and him going into another. I'm wondering if he was stored somewhere for a bit, because I get a reference to being stored like in a closet or a storage space, and that card keeps coming up. But he was stored for a bit, so I don't know if he was waiting for mom. I don't know if he was waiting for a certain time. Get a reference to 3 days for some reason. So maybe he was gone 3 days prior. I see him pacing. I see an argument with him and the mom, and she is still back. She's still backing down. She's scared of him, but it's like now they have to do something about it. I get a reference to everything going in the trunk. There's a couple bags. I see the stage set, so the shoe placed later on to make it look like he ran off, but being shown to me, like in the first reading, he couldn't open doors. I get big locks on the top of the door. You can't open it. I keep pulling the fire card. I'm not sure what they mean. I don't know if they tried to burn him or there's a fire connection somehow, or they burnt stuff. I'm not really sure, but that card keeps coming in. I also see it, but that comes in and it's really weird. But I also feel like I'm in a panic. Like I need to go into the woods. Like I need to go do something with him. Woods, water feels significant. My right shoulder is hurting a bit, so I don't know if it feels like a dislocation. I feel bruises and stiff. He was all dressed up to hide the bruising and skinniness to him when he was in that other video. The last time he was seen on the 16th. There's a reference to camping in the area somewhere. It's confusing because in the first reading he felt buried. The woods by the marsh, I could smell everything and I could see and hear digging. I do feel he's close to a road, or was. It's like I go to a pull off. I feel like it's damp, like musky, like how I would feel if I was very close to the beach or very close to water. I know it's not a beach with waves, but it's still like a beach. I keep seeing that lighthouse for some reason. I was seeing that while I was half asleep the other day. So like the light and how it would shine from a lighthouse at dark. So I don't know. There's a reference to it being dark at some point, but I'm very torn between woods and water. It's like it's both in a weird way. So I don't know if the water table would rise and then lower and it would reveal him. I don't know how to explain this. I keep seeing shallow hole in the woods, but it's like close to water, and so I don't know. I was kind of confused today because I kept seeing someone washed up on shore. So I don't even know if it's this case. That's why I'm a bit confused, like I'm flip-flopping again. But they keep making me feel like I'm in the woods. It's also a bridge goes over river into the woods. I keep seeing like how water would flow down over those step things in water. I was seeing that the other morning too. I kept seeing that, and I kept getting a reference to going over a bridge, weirdly. I also keep seeing a boat, so I don't get this. There's two things I keep seeing. I keep seeing like I'm going over a bridge that's going over like a river, and then I get a reference to like a boat, a dock, and the lake. I don't know. I mean, it feels damp. It feels moist. I wonder if he was in two places. Or I wonder if, I don't know if he's put in two places or moved, because I'm getting two things. Or if evidence is in one place. I'm not really sure. I feel like I'm in a hole. It's not a deep hole, but like, you know, enough to like put something small in. I can see cattails close by, and I don't know if it's really cold because as I'm reading this, I can see like their breath when they're outside. So Maybe that's why it's not so deep. But it's like damp. It's really damp. But I feel like there's trees and the road is really close and the road like splits like a crossroad, which I pulled that card before, like it splits like that. So the road splits goes one way and then splits goes another. And there's definitely has to be like a little bridge or like area that goes over water. Okay. It comes across as like, the regular road. It's not like the bridge with railings. It comes across as that. I keep seeing those crane things. So that would like remind me of like a quarry or construction where they would have like those really large cranes with the things that come down. Again, in the area past, etc. I also heard overflow. And whatever that means. So he had time. I just don't know if it's like there's two locations because I'm flip-flopping again. I'm just wondering if the guy has access to a boat. If that card is more literal, he's in a gang. It kind of makes me wonder, but because I got stored and then boat in the last cards, but then I also feel like I'm in the woods. So it is evidence. So I don't know if it's evidence in him or he's not one piece or was he moved. I'm not sure. It feels like I'm flip-flopping again. I hate that, but both things are very clear. But what's clearest is the woods. Like the road splits and it curves like this. And I'm going that way, so it's curving this way. Unless I mirrored. But I'll go to my right facing you guys. And that's the way that I'm being shown it. I would walk in the woods a bit and be right there. But the road feels very close. So I also feel like a marshy area. So I don't know when I was shown that water above. It's like at some points of the year that like looks like that in some areas. I'm not really sure because that could be it. They could have brought me up to show me, hey, this is like how the lake looks at a certain time of year at certain points of it. Like maybe more like that could be their way of showing me. So I'm not really sure. So they could have been trying to show me like the large lake all along, but like a marshy type area or stagnant water at some point. Okay, so I mean, it just feels like a really wet area because I get like cattails and grass. I can hear lots of birds. So I don't know if that water, like I said, it looks like that or if it's just symbolic, or I'm not really sure. I also feel train tracks, or I can hear a train. I hear the word barge as well. So I don't know if that makes sense. And I hear boats. I can hear boats right now as we're talking, or as I'm talking to you guys. I can hear like beep beep from like a boat, like a larger boat, how they have those loud horns. So I don't know if that makes sense or what a barge really is, but I'm hearing barge. Sorry that I'm flip-flopping. I myself am kind of confused because I hear splash too. So weird. He does that, and then I'm taken back to the woods. So like over a barge, over a little bridge, over a little bridge. It looks like the road goes over the water. And then they have like those little waterfall things under them, and then like the road splits or there's a crossroad and it curves. So I keep getting a curve. One curves this way and one goes that way. That's how it comes across. I don't know if it's symbolic or not. I'm getting a headache on my head on this side, but a crossroad. That was really clear. That kept repeating. So the crossroad seems to be important. The curve at the crossroad seems to be important. That's what I kept like seeing. I also get telephone lines as well. I can hear buzzing of the telephone lines. It's very loud as far as birds, bugs, frogs, they're concerned. So it must be somewhere very wet or close to water. And I obviously know it's not that time for it, but he's either found in the time where that is happening, or it's just to give me an idea of what type of area it is. Okay. That's how this works. And I don't know if like there's an area where like trash collects in the water, because I can see trash collected like in the water. So you know how like sometimes there'll be parts on the beach where like it kind of goes inland a little bit, and then there'll be some trash there on top of the water. I don't know why they're showing that, but I was seeing that. It's kind of weird. Quit being weird. I also get a reference to seagulls, so I don't know if there's actually seagulls or if it's symbolic, because I relate that to the beach. But I can hear boats too. Like again, see, now I heard the horns then too, so it must be significant. So they've got to be able to hear the boat's horns, so it's got to be closer to that lake. I can hear what I think. I think we have to stay by that big lake / beach, like between the house and that. Like I feel like, and for some reason I want to go up, not down, but on the map. But I'm not great at maps, so, or it's just a place that he knows. But at the same time random, so I can't figure out why I'm flip-flopping water boats in the woods. I don't know if it has to do with like evidence in one spot, he's in another, boat, he's in both places. Like I don't understand. But it's like I can get both things unless it's, I would say like that crossroads like led to a place where they maybe put him in the water, but I keep walking into the woods too. And then I see them together in the woods. So that's what's like throwing me. But it's like really wet woods. Like almost like an overflow goes into the wood. I don't know. I'll keep going. So it's weird. Again, the bridge over water, then the road splits, and at one point it turns in like right after it splits, it curves this way. So that curve goes around the wood. That's what keeps coming in. That's super important because it keeps repeating. I keep seeing that. So when things repeat again, they're significant. But I also know how sometimes, again, trash gathers in like a cove, like an area where people throw their trash, and it collects along the shore in the water. I keep seeing something like that too. I'm also hearing that song, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, Wasting Time. I'm hearing that song. So I don't know if I'm getting two places, or like again evidence in one, or whatever, or this is just what's in the area. I do keep seeing fire too. So I'm not really sure. I keep getting the fire card too. Every time I pull, I get the fire cards. After three times, not a coincidence anymore. The beach card, the boat card, and the fire card all seem important. I don't know if it's a fire tower. I don't know if they try to burn something. I don't know if it has anything to do with him, but that fire card keeps coming in, and I'm also getting a reference to it. I don't know what it means. I hope it's not what I think it is, but I also keep seeing wet grass, cattails, like a marsh, woods and wet. I hear kids playing, so that comes in later. Like I said, sorry I'm kind of over the place, but as I'm reading this, I'm getting things, so I'll just tell you what I'm getting. But so like marsh, woods, and wet. And so I need to ask now, is there a place where the land meets the water and there's like wet in the woods or something like that? I do keep getting marsh type area, so like high grass, cattails, and then woods. So it's like both, and it's wet and it's close to a road, and then they give me like lake water stuff. Like all of that seems important and keeps repeating. So I hate to break my channel, but I had to do reading, so I had to leave, and then I came back. So when I came back, I heard the word caverns, so that could be caves. I don't know if this place has anything like that, or it could be underground or like in the water even. I keep seeing this cross road, and again, one goes around a steeper curve, and then right there is the woods. That's the best way I can explain it. That's what they keep showing me. The area for it sort of feels random, but it's an area he may work near, or it may be right outside houses and stuff, because it feels like there's houses like somewhere around there. Just going back to my other reading, and I hope I'm not, like, things aren't different. Like, okay, so like there's houses that you might drive by or that might be in the vicinity, but you're in woods. So I'd be curious if he has some place where just keeps his work equipment. So I don't know why work and stuff is coming in, but I get a reference to the trunk. So it wouldn't be his truck. The color is like a lighter, like silver, or actually looks more beige. I don't know what car they used or what the cars look like. It's like, as I'm seeing it, it's kind of almost like a brown beige, silverish thing. I want to go more towards brown beige is the way it comes in, or like tan maybe. So I don't know if that's her car or another car, but that's one I keep seeing because I do hear the trunk, which is they're also showing me a graveyard again. I do know that's next to the house, so I don't know why I'm getting gravestones again. But 39 came in Audrey's reading, and then that happens to be the address. So that's what I mean by one reading leads to another. And it's the street. But I'm getting gravestones again, and I got that also in Audrey's Ted's reading. So it's also like I'm in a wet area. You can be considered like, I don't know if there's like a place it's like water and woods. I don't know if that makes sense. So I'll just mention a couple days before he went missing, I was getting a reference to a garden. So I don't know if what that means or if that fits here or not, but it was something that came in of half sleep, half awake. But it was coming to me again, so I was remembering it. So I just thought I'd mention it. I also see someone sinking in water, but reaching up like this. So I don't know if that's him or if that's someone else that maybe drowned. This is so confusing. And the cards in the reading point to kind of more of a like wet burial and soil sort than with water, but there's still water there. Like that's kind of the way it comes across in the cards as well. So I don't know if it's two locations or some of this is symbolic, but this is what I'm being shown. And I feel like I want to cough again. The sinking could be like a symbolic too, but I don't know because it wasn't symbolic in Audrey. So it's almost like I'm sinking, but I'm reaching up. Not that he was alive anyway, and it could just be that's how I'm seeing it. Unless there's something else that happened there that I don't know, like someone drowned or something, that's possible. But I don't know. I keep wondering if he has a place that he keeps his work stuff, or there's a work building, or if that's considered his house, because there's a reference to work. I know he's like kind of like I just found out he did pressure washing because I asked, because I kept getting reference to work, so I don't know if it's like by a place he works or he's known to work, or a place that he keeps his stuff. But I also hear the word mausoleum. I know puzzle pieces are confusing, but I'm just a human connecting to another vibration, and it's not really easy. So there's also a reference to placing a bag in water, like going down by the rocks by where there's a bridge. And again, I'm not sure if this is going to fit here. This is an Autowrite. I did get something very similar in Malia's years ago. So that's repeating, so I have to say it. I hear the word waterway as well. They keep showing me water going up and going up and going down, like rising and falling. So I don't know if like there's a place where it gets a little bit higher and then it gets a little bit lower. I don't know if there's snow at this time or it came after, because I get piles of snow and ice in reference to snowing and being cold or frozen. I also get dewdrops in the leaves and the trees. And so I'm switching back and forth between him and the consultant for this. There's also a reference to a sliver of a moon. I can never remember what that's called, but it's like when it's slivered. So I don't know what the reference is to that, or if it's when he'll be found or not. I also get a reference to April for some reason, and then a reference for springtime. I hear that he's not being cooperative, and unless you hit him with something where he knows he's caught, he won't back down on his story. He's going to continue to act like he believes it, but he's a master manipulator. Even with the cops, he's constantly trying to manipulate and lie. So maybe when the snow melts or things start to get a little warmer, they really do take me to April. So that seems to be significant, either in April or before, but it feels like I'm in April and it's springtime. So it feels like I'm also, again, on the corner of a road, like the road curves and you walk into the woods and there's a corner there. I hear tree line, so maybe not too far, like I'm not too far off the road. There is something, and I've been looking like off the road because it's how it's been feeling. There's also some sort of steel or metal building that's not kind of like, it's in the distance, but not that far from me. It's an area that he's familiar with, but like we need to stay between the beach and his house, or like that general area. That's kind of how it feels. I could be wrong on that. Just the beach area seems significant to keep getting that, and the cards and the boat. I noticed my cards are pretty accurate with location, probably more accurate than I am most of the time. But I also seeing those electric towers. So that was interesting that I pulled that card as well, because I've been seeing that for a couple of days now. And I also don't know where the county line is, but there's something about a county line, city line. There's something about a line. I'm not really sure what that means either. I can also smell food. So I know it's really weird, but I can smell food like strongly. So there must be a restaurant somewhere close by. There's a reference to fish and chips. It's so random. I don't know. I keep smelling food. Like, you know, when you're making something good and you're down on the street and you can smell it, I smell the food. So I don't know if there's also an area that was recently like it overtook the road, like it flooded and overtook the road. Because I see like water going over the road and into like maybe the woods or something. That's coming in. It's kind of weird. I don't know why that's coming in. There's also reference to piles of sand. So I don't know if there's a quarry or a place with like sand. That may also relate back to the crane, that tall crane thing as well. And I also heard Pied Piper. There's also something about a warehouse or something that's like a warehouse. I can see like a big metal building, and I think I just said this, but it looks like some sort of warehouse or something. It's not too big, but kind of interesting. It's kind of like in the distance. I can see it, maybe through the woods or something. I don't think this fits here, but but I've been getting this word for a couple days. I notice if I don't say something, it ends up fitting, so I'll need to say it. It's like Hagerman or Hagman, but I think it's Hagerman. So I'm just gonna leave that. The back of my head hurts. I feel really shook. So I think I got this in the first reading, but I don't even remember that reading, honestly. But someone's taking my arms, like both of them, and shaking the crap out of me. Things have gone too far, is what I just heard. I'm not sure if they fit here. I'm just going to say it because it wouldn't stop. But Justin and Isabella, I tend to get names in future cases, so I'm going to say it. So things sort of feel random now. So I'm going to stop. I'll do another reading if I feel the need. I do know that this was kind of confusing. It's kind of confusing to me, and I don't know why, but I just have to give what I'm getting and hope that it makes sense. There's a reference to boxes, so I'm not really sure what that means either. There's something about a storage facility that I can't shake, and I don't know if that was before, if there's evidence, if there's something. I'm not sure. I just hear the word storage facility as well. So what I meant by the triangle when I was talking about that is like what cops do to triangulate a location based on where the perp is, where he lives, and then a different location, like they're triangulating it. That's what I was shown. It was like cops triangulating an area. But again, multiple meanings. There could be a triangle, or he could have went in a triangle. Like you could look at it like this, like, you know, his work, or I mean his house, a place he knows, and then where the baby is, and it makes a triangle like that. I don't know. It can have multiple meanings. So Elijah is healing on the other side. He comes in very strong in the beginning, but it comes across like he's kind of confused on where he is, because I use both of them. But the area he's in like pans out or feels wide. There may be an open field or open space next to it as well. Water is important in some way, shape, or form. I hear Scorpio, which kind of rules water and death, or there may be Scorpio in someone's chart. So puzzle pieces, take what fits, see it if we can find it, and keep in mind that Autowrites, some things may not fit. He will be found in the way and when he's meant to. I wonder about some of this interconnecting, Audrey, and also because I see flowers poking up out of the ground, so maybe when they start to, but also things are wet, so maybe after rain and a place where water sort of accumulates, but I see like damp ground, drops on the grass, and little flowers. Again, I may be seeing timing. I did get purple flowers in Audrey, it's coming in again, but these are small and close to the ground, like little tiny ones, and they're close to the ground. And again, I hear freaking ducks. So there's a pond or something where there's ducks, or you would hear ducks. Sometimes I get as symbolic of a pond or a lake, but it feels like a pond, so it may be smaller. But I can hear them quacking. I mean, I guess it could be the lake, but it's almost like there might be a smaller body of water that's like more of like a pond. It could be symbolic, but it does not come across that way. It feels like I can hear them from where I am. So I also get a reference to red as well. And there may be a stop sign close because I got that in Audrey, but it's coming in again. Sorry. So this may be more helpful to locals than for me, as I've been driving myself crazy on a map for hours and hours. I started far away, but then I kept coming back close. So I don't know. Maybe they drove after or drove around. I'm not sure. Maybe some stuff is scattered. So I'm still trying to pick up stuff about Elijah, but it's hard because he wasn't able to be a kid or have likes. I feel like he maybe liked to color in trucks. I liked trucks. I see cartoons too. This wasn't things he got to do often, but enjoyed them. He comes across as scared most of his life, mellow, but a typical 3-year-old, but he was afraid to be a 3-year-old. I see kisses on cheeks of other family members. He wanted someone to take him and make him feel safe, but it comes across as no one noticed or realized, or they didn't want to. But he wanted to be loved. He seemed to like clouds. He keeps showing me. Oh, and I need to mention Audrey. I got a metal pipe like a drainage with graffiti on it. So I don't know if it's significant here, but I'm just gonna put it here just in case. But he also shows me he didn't get a lot of love, like he was starving for it. He just wanted to be held, loved, cared for. He wanted to eat good food and allowed to be a kid. He shows me him playing in the park, so I don't know if he did or wanted to, but there's a park mentioned, so I don't know if it has anything to do with location because I was hearing kids earlier. So there might be kids. So I keep pulling the school card. So there might be a school really close by, or a park, but because I pull the school card, I'm wondering if there's a school close, because I can hear kids playing, like screaming and playing and stuff, so that seems to be important as well. Because it was coming in, I'm getting anxiety, but it was coming in right now, and I keep pulling that school card, so it might be significant in where he's at. Because I'm kind of getting like a dual meaning where like it might have something to do with location, because I can hear them screaming and stuff, but also that might just be what he liked or wanted to do. And I don't know if he really ever got to do it. But so again, I don't know if park has anything to do with location, but I'm seeing in one. So I don't know if it's a wish or something else. I feel like he was just so shy and quiet because he had to be, but he really wanted to just be and do kid things. He wasn't an adult, but they expected him to be. His blanket was his security, and it was something that made him feel safe since no one and nothing else did. I feel like he would latch on to other family members, hoping they would see his pain or cry for help. Like if he ever saw them at family, I see him hugging a larger female. I like see he was really sweet, like such a sweet boy that's just needed a chance. He says, I'm okay, I'm with Jesus. And they show me Jesus in all his glory. I see Jesus. His eyes are green, by the way. He's tall with long brown hair that's a little wavy, and he has facial hair. I mean, he's very similar to all the depictions, but his eyes are more green right now. He's got white robe and drapes, and he's holding Elijah's hand. I know they always put his eyes as like blue, but I kept seeing green eyes for some reason. It's really weird. And he's holding Elijah's hand, and Elijah is standing there, and he's glowing and smiling, and he's happy for once, and he's in light, and he's loved finally. He's happy, he's free. I see animals frolicking about and other kids playing and laughing. And he's home, and he wants people to know that he's okay. Jesus wants people to know that he has our children. Behind him, I see a field of flowers and kids and animals running around. It's absolutely stunning. He is safe in heaven with Jesus. Jesus is smiling, and he blows a kiss. And that was amazing. And I'm shown a rainbow of promise. Now deep breaths. They turn and walk into the light. One more thing. They want to thank everyone trying so hard for this little boy. He has touched the hearts of many, and he knows that many would have chosen him to be their son. He did choose his parents in this situation as part of a soul contract, and that we will understand when we are on the other side. Many people don't get that, but he's okay, and he's free, and he's home where he can be healed. He's needed some extra healing, so it's hard to reach for a while. I also see a vigil as well, and balloons and stuffies outside I think maybe the apartment. Prayers can do amazing things. So if we band together and pray and send light, that is what is needed. Namaste, my friends. I hope this was helpful and it was powerful for me. I know it was kind of all over the place, but hopefully you guys will write down, what I was getting in the different points, and hopefully they'll make sense. But the cards I pulled in order were hidden, river, road, fire, beach, boat, underground, so maybe a pipe of some sort, bones, outside water, or outside and then water, electric towers, hollow earth, in water, outside school. So school keeps coming out. So again, I don't know if that was the playground I was getting. Could be a school. Kind of see a school sign, like when you drive up, how they tell you to slow down. Underground, frozen, proper burial, wooded area, above ground, random area, inside, work, city, dumped. So it kind of comes across as like he had a proper burial in a wooded area, and that maybe he's not as deep ground as he could be, but it's also random, and there's something about work in this, like outside the city maybe, and just stuff. So that was a lot, and I do hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for your likes, subscribes, and shares. I know that I don't know, hopefully it helps. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys next time.